My father died, and while I sat alone in grief, my husband scrolled through his phone and ordered Thai food, treating my pain like an inconvenience. His absence during the hardest week of my life forced me to see our marriage for what it was, and ultimately led me to leave him and finally find someone who actually shows up. My father died on a Tuesday morning, and my husband asked me what was for dinner that night. I was sitting on our bed. Phone still in my hand. My mother's words still echoing. "He's gone, sweetie. Your father's gone." I'd known it was coming. Dad had been sick for months. Cancer. The kind that doesn't care about treatment or hope or how much you're not ready to say goodbye. But knowing doesn't prepare you. Doesn't make the moment any less devastating. I sat there. Numb. Shaking. Trying to process that my father, the man who taught me to ride a bike and change a tire and stand up for myself, was gone. That's when my husband Chris walked into the bedroom. "Hey, what do you want for dinner? I'm thinking of ordering Thai food but wanted to check with you first." I looked up at him. At this man I'd been married to for 6 years. Waiting for him to notice. To see my face. To ask what was wrong. He was scrolling on his phone. Not even looking at me. "My dad died," I said. Chris glanced up. "Oh. Mess. I'm sorry." Then back to his phone. "So Thai food okay? Or do you want something else?" I stared at him. Waiting for more. For him to put the phone down. To come sit with me. To hold me. To say something, anything, that showed he understood what had just happened. He kept scrolling. "They have that pad see ew you like. Want me to order that?" "Chris." "What?" "My father just died." "I know. I heard you." I said, "I'm sorry. Do you want Thai food or not? I'm trying to place the order." Something inside me broke. Not the grief breaking. Something else. Something that had maybe been cracking for a while, I just hadn't noticed. "I don't care about food right now." "Okay, well I'm hungry, so I'm just going to order what I want." He tapped his phone. Placed the order. Left the room. I sat there alone. In our bedroom. In the house we'd bought together. With the man I'd married. And I felt more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. Let me back up. Let me tell you about my father. Dad was a good man. Not perfect. But good. He worked hard. Provided for our family. Showed up to every recital, every game, every moment that mattered. He wasn't emotionally expressive. Didn't say "I love you" often. But he showed it. In 1,000 small ways. When I graduated college, he cried. Only time I ever saw him cry until the cancer diagnosis. When I got married to Chris, he walked me down the aisle and whispered, "You sure about this guy?" Half joking. Half serious. I'd laughed it off. Told him Chris was great. That I was sure. Dad had never quite warmed to Chris. Never said anything directly. Just subtle things. The way he'd change the subject when Chris talked about work. The way he'd offer to help me with things instead of asking Chris to do it. The way he'd look at me sometimes, like he was trying to figure out if I was happy. I'd written it off as typical father-in-law stuff. Dad being protective. Unable to accept that any man was good enough for his daughter. Now I wondered if he'd seen something I'd missed. Dad got sick 8 months ago. Started with back pain. Then fatigue. Then the tests. Then the diagnosis. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Prognosis, 6 months, maybe less. We'd gotten 7. 7 months of watching him deteriorate. 7 months of hospital visits and treatments that didn't work and conversations about end-of-life care. I'd been at my parents' house almost every day. Helping my mom. Sitting with Dad. Trying to make the most of whatever time we had left. Chris had come to visit twice. Both times because I'd asked. Both times he'd stayed less than an hour. Made excuses about work or errands or being tired. "I'm not good with sick people," he'd said. "It makes me uncomfortable." "He's dying, Chris. He's my father." "I know. And I'm sorry. But I don't know what to do. What to say. I feel useless just sitting there." So he stopped coming. And I stopped asking. I told myself it was fine. That everyone handles grief differently. That Chris was supporting me in other ways. Except he wasn't. He wasn't asking how Dad was doing. Wasn't asking how I was doing. Wasn't offering to come with me to the hospital or pick up groceries for my mom or do any of the 1,000 things that needed doing. He was just existing. Going to work. Coming home. Eating dinner. Watching TV. Living his normal life while mine was falling apart. "You're being distant," I'd said 2 weeks before Dad died. I'm not being distant. I'm just giving you space to deal with your family stuff. I don't need space. I need support. I am supporting you. I'm not bothering you with my stuff. I'm letting you focus on your dad. That's not support. That's avoidance. What do you want from me? You want me to sit at the hospital and stare at your dad? That doesn't help anyone. I want you to care. To ask how I'm doing. To be present. I do care. But I can't fix this. Your dad's dying. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'm just trying to stay out of the way. That conversation had gone nowhere. We dropped it. I'd gone back to my parents' house. He'd gone back to his phone. And now Dad was gone. And Chris was ordering Thai food. The food arrived 30 minutes later. Chris set it up in the living room. Called me to come eat. I came out. Sat down. Stared at the containers. You should eat something, Chris said. You probably haven't eaten all day. He was right. I hadn't. But I also couldn't imagine eating. The thought of food made me nauseous. I'm not hungry. You need to eat. Can't deal with funeral planning on an empty stomach. Funeral planning. Right. That was happening. Soon. I needed to call the funeral home. Talk to my mom. Make arrangements. Figure out what Dad would have wanted. The weight of it hit me all at once. Dad was gone. And now I had to plan his funeral. And my husband was eating pad see ew like this was a normal Tuesday. Can you put the food away? I asked. I need to call my mom. Sure. Chris kept eating. Made no move to actually put anything away. I went to the bedroom. Called my mom. She was holding it together better than I expected. Had already started making calls. Already contacted the funeral home. Already started the terrible logistics of tragic event. How are you doing, honey? She asked. I don't know. It doesn't feel real yet. It won't for a while. Take your time. Let yourself feel it. How are you so calm? I'm not calm. I'm just in planning mode. The feelings will come later. Right now I just need to get through the next few days. We talked through arrangements. Viewing. Service. Burial. All the details that feel impossible to think about when the person is still warm in your memory. Is Chris there with you? Mom asked. Yeah. He's here. That's good. You need someone with you right now. I didn't correct her. Didn't say that Chris being physically present wasn't the same as actually being there. That I felt alone despite being in a house with another person. We hung up. I went back to the living room. Chris had finished eating. Was watching a basketball game. How's your mom? He asked. Eyes on the TV. She's okay. Planning mode. That's good. Did you figure out funeral stuff? Some of it. We're meeting with the funeral home tomorrow. Okay. What time? I need to know if I should take off work. I stared at him. You need to know if you should take off work? For my father's funeral planning? Well, yeah. I have meetings tomorrow. Need to know if I should reschedule. Chris, my father died today. Yes, you should take off work. I'm just asking what time. If it's in the afternoon, I can do my morning meetings and then leave. Are you serious right now? What? I'm trying to be practical. I can't just not work. We have bills. I'm not asking you to quit your job. I'm asking you to be there for me while I plan my father's funeral. And I will be. I just need to know the timing. I couldn't do this. Couldn't argue about whether my husband should prioritize work or his grieving wife. Couldn't explain why this was important. Couldn't make him understand something that should have been obvious. Figure it out, I said. Went back to the bedroom. Closed the door. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Trying to process the fact that my father was gone and my husband was watching basketball. Chris came in around midnight. Got ready for bed. Climbed in next to me. You okay? He asked. No. It'll get easier. Time heals and all that. My father died this morning. I know. I'm just saying, eventually it won't upset as much. I don't need it to upset less right now. I need you to be here with me while it upsets. I am here. No, you're not. You're physically here. But you're not present. You're not engaged. You're acting like this is just another day. What do you want me to do? I can't bring him back. I can't make you feel better. So I'm just trying to keep things normal. Give you stability. I don't need stability. I need you to care. To show up. To act like my father dying matters to you. It does matter. He was your dad. I'm sad for you. But not sad for yourself? Not sad that you lost someone too? Chris was quiet. Then, I barely knew him. We weren't close. I didn't really have a relationship with him beyond being his son-in-law. You could have had a relationship with him. If you'd tried. If you'd visited more. If you'd shown up. He didn't like me. He made that clear. Why would I force myself on someone who didn't want me around? He didn't dislike you. He was just protective of me. He thought I wasn't good enough for you. I could tell. So I stopped trying. What's the point of trying to bond with someone who's already decided you're inadequate? So you just gave up? Never made an effort? I made effort in the beginning. It didn't work. So yeah, I gave up. And now he's gone and I'm supposed to pretend I'm devastated? I'm not. I'm sad for you. But I'm not personally grieving him. The honesty was startling. Brutal. But at least it was honest. Then grieve with me, I said. Even if you're not sad for yourself, be sad with me. Support me. Act like this matters. I am supporting you. I'm here. I'm going to the funeral. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. The bare minimum isn't support. It's just showing up. What more do you want? I didn't know how to answer that. Because I wanted everything. I wanted him to hold me. To cry with me. To sit with me in silence. To bring me tea without being asked. To know what I needed without me having to spell it out. I wanted him to care as much as I did. To feel the weight of this loss. To understand that my father dying wasn't just sad for me, it was a fundamental shift in my world. But I couldn't say all that. Couldn't articulate the 1,000 small things that added up to actual support. So I just said nothing. Chris fell asleep. I lay awake. Alone in a bed with another person. The next morning, Chris went to work. Said he'd take off at noon to come to the funeral home. He didn't. He texted at 11:45. Meeting running long. Sorry. Can you handle it without me? I handled it without him. Met my mom at the funeral home. Picked out a casket. Chose flowers. Selected photos for the slideshow. Made all the terrible decisions you have to make when someone dies. My mom kept asking where Chris was. Work, I said. On a day like this? He had meetings. Mom didn't say anything. But her expression said enough. The viewing was 2 days later. Chris showed up 15 minutes late. Wearing jeans and a polo shirt. Everyone else was in funeral attire. He looked like he was going to a barbecue. Did you not know what to wear? I whispered. I forgot it was today. Didn't have time to change. You forgot your father-in-law's viewing was today? I've been busy. Had a lot going on at work. It slipped my mind. My aunt overheard. Gave Chris a look that could have melted steel. Walked away shaking her head. Chris stood next to me during the receiving line. Shook hands with people. Said the right things. Thank you for coming. He was a great man. We appreciate your support. But he was wooden. Going through the motions. Not actually present. My cousin pulled me aside. Is Chris okay? He's fine. Why? He just seems disconnected. Like he doesn't want to be here. He's not good with tragic event. It makes him uncomfortable. We're all uncomfortable. We're at a funeral. But we show up anyway. I know. Are you okay? You seem really alone in this. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. But I couldn't talk about it. Couldn't admit that my husband was failing me in the most fundamental way. That I was grieving my father alone despite being married. The service was the next day. Chris showed up on time. Wore a suit. Sat next to me in the front row. During the eulogy, I cried. Sobbed, really. Couldn't help it. Hearing people talk about my father, about who he was and what he meant to them, broke me open. Chris sat next to me. Didn't put his arm around me. Didn't hold my hand. Didn't offer a tissue. Just sat there. Staring ahead. My mom, sitting on my other side, reached over and took my hand. Squeezed it. That's when I really lost it. Because my mother, who just lost her husband of 40 years, was comforting me while my husband of 6 years did nothing. After the service, people came up to offer condolences. Everyone hugged me. Told me how sorry they were. Asked if there was anything they could do. Chris stood beside me. Nodding. Thanking people. Still going through the motions. My dad's best friend, Tom, pulled me aside. Your dad loved you so much. Talked about you all the time. Was so proud of you. I know. I loved him too. He worried about you, near the end. Kept saying he hoped you were okay. That you were happy? He didn't need to worry about me. Tom looked at Chris, then back at me. He said that too. Said you tell him you were fine even if you weren't. Made me promise to check on you. So I'm checking. Are you okay? I'm grieving. But I'll be okay. And your marriage? Is that okay? The question caught me off guard. Why would you ask that? Because your dad asked about it. A lot. Said something seemed off. That you seemed unhappy when you talked about Chris. I told him he was just being overprotective. But now I'm not so sure. I didn't know what to say. Because Tom was right. Dad had seen something. And I dismissed it. Told myself everything was fine. But it wasn't fine. And it hadn't been for a while. I'm okay, I lied. Everything's okay. Tom nodded. But he didn't look convinced. The burial was small. Just immediate family. We stood around the grave while the priest said final prayers. I let go a flower on the casket. Watched them lower my father into the ground. Chris stood behind me. Still not touching me. Still maintaining distance. When it was over, people dispersed. Heading to my mom's house for the reception. Chris said he needed to stop by the office first. Something urgent had come up. You're leaving? Right now? Just for an hour. I'll meet you at your mom's. Chris, we just buried my father. I know. And I'm sorry. But this can't wait. I'll be there as soon as I can. He left. Drove away while I stood there watching. My sister came up. Did Chris just leave? Work emergency. On the day you buried your dad? Apparently. I'm going to end him. Get in line. We went to Mom's house. Chris showed up 3 hours later. By then, most people had left. He grabbed a plate of food. Sat in the corner scrolling his phone. My uncle came over. Is your husband always like this? Like what? Checked out. Disengaged. Like he'd rather be anywhere else. He's not good with grief. None of us are good with grief. But we show up anyway. That's what family does. I know. Does he know? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like he doesn't understand what being a husband means. My uncle walked away. Left me standing there with the truth I'd been avoiding. Chris didn't understand what being a husband meant. Or he did and just didn't care. Either way, I was alone. That night, back at our house, I confronted him. We need to talk. About what? About the fact that you've been completely absent through this whole thing. About the fact that my father died and you acted like it was an inconvenience. About the fact that I needed you and you weren't there. I was there. I went to the funeral. I came to your mom's house. What more do you want? I want you to care. I want you to act like this matters. I want you to support me instead of treating my grief like an interruption to your normal schedule. I do care. But I also have a life. I have work. I have responsibilities. I can't just stop everything because your dad died. Yes, you can. That's exactly what you do when your spouse is grieving. You stop. You show up. You be there. For how long? A week? A month? When am I allowed to go back to normal? When I'm ready. When I'm through the worst of this. When I don't need you anymore. You always need something. It's never enough. I'm here, but I'm not here the right way. I'm supportive, but not supportive enough. What exactly do you want from me? I want you to be my husband. To act like my pain matters to you. To show up emotionally, not just physically. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to fix this for you. Your dad's dead. Nothing I do will change that. So I'm just trying to keep things normal. Keep us stable. Give you something to lean on. You can't be something to lean on if you're never actually there. Chris let go of his hands. I don't know what you want. I'm doing my best. Your best isn't good enough. The words hung in the air. Heavy. True. Devastating. Chris stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying I can't do this anymore. I can't be in a marriage where I'm alone. Where my husband checks out when things get hard. Where I have to beg for basic support. You want a divorce? Over this? Over the fact that you weren't there when I needed you most. Over the fact that my father died and you asked what was for dinner. Over the fact that you care more about work than about me. That's not fair. I've been there for you plenty of times. Name one. Chris thought. Couldn't come up with anything. I'm there every day. I come home. I talk to you. I'm present. You're physically present. But you're emotionally absent. And I can't live like that anymore. So what, one bad week and you want to throw away 6 years of marriage? It's not one bad week. It's been building for years. I just didn't see it until now. Until the most important week of my life when you completely failed to show up. I showed up to the funeral. I was there. Being there isn't the same as showing up. And you should know that. The fact that you don't tells me everything I need to know. I went to the guest room. Locked the door. Lay in bed processing everything. My father was dead. And my marriage was over. Both truths crashing down on me at the same time. I stayed in the guest room for 3 days. Chris knocked occasionally. Asked if I was okay. If I needed anything. I didn't answer. Didn't have the energy to explain again why his minimal effort wasn't enough. On the 4th day, my sister came over. Found me still in bed. Unwashed. Wearing the same clothes. Okay, intervention time. Get up. Shower. We're going out. I don't want to go out. I don't care. You can't just hide in this room forever. Dad wouldn't want that. She was right. Dad would be furious if he knew I was wallowing. He'd tell me to get up. To keep moving. To deal with my problems head on. I showered. Got dressed. Left the house with my sister. We went to a coffee shop. Sat outside. Didn't talk about Chris or Dad or anything heavy. Just sat. Drank coffee. Existed. How are you really? She finally asked. I don't know. Numb. Angry. Sad. Lost. And Chris? Still doesn't get it. Thinks I'm overreacting. Are you going to leave him? I think so. I can't unsee it now. Can't pretend he's going to suddenly become the person I need. Dad didn't like him. Did you know that? I suspected. He told me once that Chris seemed like a good guy who'd make a terrible husband. I didn't understand what he meant then. I do now. What did he mean? That some people are great friends, great coworkers, great on paper. But they lack the depths to be a real partner. They can't go deep. Can't handle real emotion. Can't show up when it matters. That's Chris. She was right. Chris was fine in the easy times. But the moment things got hard, he disappeared. Emotionally if not physically. I think I knew that when we got married, I admitted. I just thought he'd change. Or that I could live with it. Turns out I can't. Good. You deserve better. We sat in silence. Then my sister said, Dad was proud of you. Near the end. Said you'd grown into someone strong. Said you didn't take mess from anyone anymore. I think he'd be proud of you leaving Chris. Taking control of your life. I haven't left yet. But you will. I can tell. I moved out the following week. Rented a small apartment across town. Took only what I needed. Left Chris with the house and most of our stuff. He tried to talk me out of it. Said we should go to counseling. Work on things. Give it another chance. There's nothing to work on, I told him. You showed me who you are. I believe you. And I don't want to be married to someone who disappears when I need them. I didn't disappear. I was there. You were in the room. That's not the same thing. He didn't fight harder than that. Which told me everything. If he'd really cared, really wanted to save the marriage, he would have fought. Would have begged. Would have promised to change. Instead, he just accepted it. Moved on. Started dating someone new 3 months later. I filed for divorce 6 months after my father died. Quick. Clean. No fighting over assets. We split everything down the middle and walked away. The divorce finalized on what would have been my dad's 67th birthday. I took it as a sign. Dad helping me move forward. Helping me let go of something that wasn't serving me. I spent a year in therapy. Working through the grief. The divorce. The realization that I'd wasted 6 years on someone who was never going to be what I needed. My therapist asked me when I'd first known Chris wasn't the right person. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Our wedding day, I said. During the ceremony. I was crying. Happy tears. Overwhelmed by the moment. And Chris just stood there. Stiff. Uncomfortable. Like he couldn't wait for it to be over. I told myself he was just nervous. But looking back, he was showing me exactly who he was. Someone who couldn't meet me in emotional moments. And you married him anyway? I thought love was enough. Thought we could work through differences. I didn't understand then that some differences aren't about working through. They're about fundamental incompatibility. Do you understand that now? Yeah. I understand that I need someone who can go deep. Who doesn't run from emotion. Who shows up not just physically but emotionally. Chris was never that person. Never going to be. 2 years after my father died, I met someone new. Alex. Met him at a grief support group I'd joined. He'd lost his mom the year before. We bonded over shared loss. Over understanding what it meant to grieve. Over knowing how to show up for someone in pain. Our first date, I cried talking about my dad. Alex didn't flinch. Didn't try to fix it. Just held my hand and listened. My ex-husband would have been so uncomfortable with this, I said. Then he was an idiot. We took it slow. Both of us carrying wounds. Both of us careful. But it was different from the beginning. Alex was present. Engaged. Met me where I was instead of expecting me to accommodate his discomfort. 6 months in, I told him about Chris. About the Thai food. About the funeral. About feeling alone in my marriage. I'm sorry that happened to you, Alex said. You deserved better. I know that now. Good. Because you're never going to get less than you deserve from me. I promise. He kept that promise. Through my hard days. Through moments when grief hit me out of nowhere. Through times when I needed to talk about my dad and cry and remember. Alex showed up. Every time. Without hesitation. Without making it about him. That's when I understood what I'd been missing with Chris. Partnership. Real partnership. Not just coexistence. Not just someone in the room. But someone actually there. Present. Engaged. Willing to sit in discomfort because the person they love needs them too. 3 years after my father died, Alex and I got married. Small ceremony. Just close friends and family. My mom walked me down the aisle. During the vows, I cried. Alex cried too. We stood there, both of us emotional messes, and it was perfect. Because we could be that with each other. Could be vulnerable. Could show up fully. My mom hugged me after. Your dad would have loved him. Would have known immediately that this was different. Better. I know. I'm sorry about Chris. Sorry you had to go through that while grieving your father. It's okay. In a weird way, Dad dying showed me who Chris really was. Forced me to see what I'd been ignoring. I might have stayed otherwise. Might have spent decades in a marriage that didn't work. Silver linings. Something like that. I think about my father often. About what he'd think of my life now. About whether he'd be proud. I think he would be. I think he'd see that I learned from his tragic event. That I stopped settling. That I found someone who actually shows up. And I think about that Tuesday morning. About Chris asking what was for dinner. About how shocking it was. How devastating. But also how clarifying. Because in that moment, Chris showed me everything. Showed me that he couldn't meet me in grief. Couldn't prioritize my pain over his hunger. Couldn't be what I needed when I needed it most. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. My father's tragic event was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But it was also the catalyst for the best decision I ever made. Leaving a marriage that was slowly suffocating me. Finding someone who actually understood what partnership meant. Chris wasn't a bad person. He just wasn't my person. He couldn't go deep. Couldn't handle real emotion. Couldn't show up when showing up was hard. And I needed someone who could. I found that someone. Built a life with him. A real life. Based on actual partnership. Actual presence. Actual love. My father just passed away, and my husband acted like a stranger. What should have been a time of grief and support turned into the end of my marriage. But it also turned into the beginning of my real life. The life I was supposed to have. With someone who actually sees me. Actually shows up. Actually cares. I just wish my dad could have met Alex. Could have seen that I figured it out. That I found what I was looking for. But in a way, maybe he did. Maybe Dad's tragic event was his final gift to me. The push I needed to stop accepting less than I deserved. The clarity to see what was right in front of me. I'll never know. But I'd like to think so. I'd like to think Dad knew I'd be okay. That I'd find my way. That I'd learn from his tragic event and build something better from the grief. I'd like to think he'd be proud. And maybe, in whatever comes after, he is.